If you've ever wanted to wrap a design around a curved surface without it distorting, Wrap Emboss is the tool for you, and it just got a significant update. I'm Ben, and today I'm going to walk you through exactly what's new and how to use it. I'm going to walk you through the updates to the Wrap Emboss tool using the water bottle that you see here on my screen. Just give you a quick lay of the land. You'll see I've got a water bottle with a lid that has a nice handle, and then the bottle itself. And then if you look over here in the item tree, I've got my reference items, including all my sketches and planes I used to model the water bottle. And then I have some named sketches, as well as some images that I used to create those sketches, which I then used for the Wrap and Emboss features that I'm going to walk you through. If you look over on the other side of my screen, you'll notice that I have the named sketches here, and then I have some suppressed features for the Wrap and Emboss tools, and we'll walk through all of that in just a second. So I'm going to start with this grip sleeve body sketch. I just offset the diameter of the water bottle to make a thin part, the idea being that this would be essentially just like a grippy, rubbery sleeve that would go on the outside of the water bottle, and that gives us a nice blank canvas to work with while I show you how the Wrap and Emboss tool works. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show the grip sleeve pattern sketch. You'll see it consists of a bunch of diamonds. I did some linear patterns, and then I also arranged it on an overall rectangle where I used the circumference of the sleeve itself so that I know when I use the Wrap and Emboss tool that everything's going to line up really nicely. I'll also show you how instead of doing it that way, what's great about the updated tool is you can position where you want the sketch to be manually instead. So we'll start by searching for the Wrap and Emboss tool, and then I'm going to just select all of the sketch entities that I want to wrap and emboss. And then I will select the surface, or in this case, the outer surface of the grip sleeve that I am going to wrap all of this onto. Okay, now I've got all those entities, and I'm going to click that surface, and then I'm going to hit done. And I'll hide that sketch to make it less cluttered. So now you'll see all of those interior diamonds on the sketch have been wrapped really nicely onto this cylindrical part. The great thing about Wrap and Emboss versus something like project sketch as an edge onto a face is that this is designed specifically for curved surfaces. So if I were to use the project sketch as an edge tool instead, as I looked straight on the part, it looks nice, but as I rotate the part, you would see that those lines would warp along the curvature because that tool is not designed really for curved surfaces, but Wrap and Emboss is. Now, if you follow my mouse over here, we can go to this Wrap and Emboss feature that we just created and expand that to see the different things that we can play with. You'll see that the items to wrap includes all of those diamonds. We can edit that here. We can change which face we want to wrap it onto. You'll also see that this emboss feature has a fillable dimension. Now, if I were to make this something like 0.05, once it loads, you'll notice that now all of those diamonds are bumping out, which makes for a really nice grippy surface, which is what we're going for. But we could also make this a negative 0.05, and instead you'll see that that is now carved into the surface. And if we were to make this dimension larger than the thickness of the part, so let's say 0.1, you'll notice that all of those diamonds have now just become through holes. So there's a ton of versatility right there, being able to make it an embossed feature, a debossed feature, or a full through hole, all by just changing that dimension. You'll also notice that we've got a precise positioning toggle here. We've got an edit center and a rotation. And we'll talk about those in just a second. So let's go ahead and hide this body that we just created. And instead we will show the logo pattern sketch as well as the brand name sketch. And when I zoom in here, you'll see I created the text for the Shapr3D logo as well as the icon, and then patterned that all around. So let's start by doing one more wrap and emboss feature. Let's select all of the letters that we created here. And then let's also grab this central icon right here. And then of course we'll select the water bottle surface this time. And you'll see that we get a nice projected edge that's been wrapped onto the water bottle, but you might notice that this is going backwards. Well, we can very quickly fix that if we go back into the UI here and we go to that precise positioning toggle. If we toggle that on, you'll see that it flips and everything is lined up precisely. Now let me just hide those sketches so you can see a little bit better. And this looks really nice. And now what we could do is we can grab the faces for all these letters and for the logo, hop over into visualization, and let's make those a nice white. And that looks really great. Okay, let's pop back into the modeling space and let's try something a little flashier. So this time I'm going to suppress that feature that we just made. I'll just make that blue to match really quickly. Got the pick face color and I can grab that fillet. Okay, now we're back to where we started. This time, let's turn that logo pattern sketch on one more time. And then let me pick all of these sketch entities really quickly. And now that we've got all those selected, we'll select the water bottle surface one more time. Okay, and now you'll notice that the logo is flipped again, but before we fix that, I just want to show you one other feature that we haven't talked about just yet, and that's this rotation dimension right here. So let's just say 45 degrees, give it a second to load. And what you'll notice is all those icons, the entire sketch that we created has fully rotated 45 degrees. The entire rectangle is going to flip. It's not going to rotate every individual icon. Okay, so let's go ahead and just turn the precise positioning toggle on, and that will get rid of the rotation and it will flip the logo and make sure that it is in the proper orientation. And then, you know, if you wanted, we could go back into the modeling space and make that white like we did for the other one. But instead, let me show you one other cool thing that we can do. So I'm going to suppress this one more time. I'm going to go back to the brand name sketch that I had. And you might have noticed that I have the Shapr3D text mirrored, so it's going in the opposite direction as well. And I will show you why I did that really quickly. So let's do wrap and emboss one more time. And I would like to add a nice subtle design detail to the handle of the water bottle. So I've selected that text, and now if I select the back of this handle, you'll notice that the text is going in the wrong direction. Where before we were able to just do precise positioning, in this case, if we try to toggle that, it's giving us a error message because this sketch is not lined up with that face at all. So what we can do instead is we can go toggle off precise positioning. I'm going to change the features that I want to wrap. I'll just clear it up here actually. And now if I pick the mirrored text and we go back over to this handle, you'll notice that it is going in the right direction, but it's not in the right spot. And that's where this last center edit button comes into play. So if I hit edit, you'll notice this now says point on face. Let's just get a nice straight on back view. And if we drag that point, we can then position this wherever we want it to be, which is super handy. You can just create a sketch one time. You can use it wherever you need to. And then using this edit center button, you can then position it on whatever face, wherever you want it to be. So that's a super handy tool that's been added. Okay, and then one last nice finishing touch. Let's go back into the visualization space, and you'll notice that this back surface is all glossy. If we select the surface and then the little shapes within the text and change that to matte so that it matches the rest of the handle and the lid itself, we end up with this really nice subtle detail here where we've got Shapr3D. Look at that, really beautiful. Okay, and that covers all of the updates to the Wrap and Emboss tool. That's all for my tutorial on the updated Wrap and Emboss, and remember, this is just scratching the surface of what you can do with this tool. Engineering details like airflow vents, subtle design elements like lighting effects using patterned wall thicknesses, and so much more. Let me know what you'll be using the updated Wrap and Emboss tool to create in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.